On the other hand, Chai and Yun woke up. She remembered what happened the night before, and seeing him asleep, he looked like an angel. Out of nowhere, she started checking his teeth, trying to see his canines, but of course there was nothing. Still, she felt so at ease next to him. Suddenly she kissed him lightly, which woke him up. He blushed, and though he tried to escape, he couldn't. After the kiss, everything spiraled out of control. Yun began telling her that he loved her, and they surrendered to their love. After so much adrenaline, she fell asleep, and Yun let her rest after giving her a tender kiss. The next morning, she woke up thinking it was all a dream, but when she tried to get up, her whole body ached. That's when she realized everything had been real, and she was happy, especially when she saw the ring Yun had given her. She had thought she lost it. Then, next to her clothes, she found a note from Yun, telling her he had already prepared breakfast and thanking her for being by his side, despite him abandoning her in the beginning. He promised he would never leave her alone. Along with the note, there was a beautiful bouquet of flowers. She returned home, placing the flowers next to her grandmother's photo, feeling happy. Meanwhile, in another place, Jun was furious because ever since the couple's program, he had stopped receiving scripts as the main character, which bothered him. But as the saying goes, there's always a snake lurking. That's when Don appeared, speaking badly of Chai. He told Jun that Chai loved him more than she loved Yun. But when she announced their relationship, she seduced Yun to have a boyfriend on her level. What a witch! And since Jun was just as bad, they teamed up. And this fool even gave Don his phone number. They were perfect for each other. On the other side, Chai arrived at her new job as an actress. They started with a photo session, and everyone greeted her warmly. Her new makeup artist also introduced herself. She was about to go shoot her drama, but right then her vampire appeared. He was very happy to see her. They asked Yun if they would be filming together, but he just hugged her and said he was there to support his girlfriend. She nervously told him he had caught her off guard, but he smiled and said she was beautiful. Then the photos began, and Jin, watching from a distance, was happy, because that beautiful woman was his girlfriend. Soon the director arrived, looking elegant, and he saw Yun talking to the marketing manager. He was surprised by the concern Yun showed for Chai and asked if they were married. They both confirmed they were, and they loved each other very much. Then Chai went to change into her second outfit, and Yun was walking down the hall when he was surprised by Chai, who grabbed his hand and led him to the dressing room. She asked him what he was doing there, wondering if he didn't trust her and was jealous. He responded that he just wanted to encourage her in her new job, though inside he was nervous because she was going to have a photo session with Leon. She thanked him with a sweet kiss. But for Yoon, it wasn't enough. He was greedy and wanted more. Just then, they were interrupted by Chai's boss, who entered with the manager. To Chai's surprise, she found out that their romance was very similar to the boss's, as he tried to protect his beloved at all costs. After they left, Chai and Yoon laughed because they didn't understand why they had to hide their relationship. They were crazy. Minutes later, Chai was getting ready for her second photo session with Leon. However, her headache returned. Meanwhile, Yun and Leon were in the same area, and everyone was staring at them, but they acted as if nothing was happening. They greeted each other and said goodbye in the same way. Deep down, though, both felt uncomfortable. The photos began, but Chai couldn't concentrate because she knew this was uncomfortable for Yun. So, Yun decided to move to a more distant spot to avoid seeing his Chai with Leon. Soon after, Leon appeared next to him and asked to talk to Yun. They walked away, but since Chai had seen them, she decided to follow them. She overheard Leon telling Yun that he had promised to let Chai go after they finished filming the drama. Just as Yun was about to respond, Chai arrived, angry. Yun wanted to explain, but there was no time, so he left with Leon to continue the photo session. Yun was upset because if he had spoken to her sooner, none of this would have happened. Chai, on the other hand, was angry. During the photo session, she almost choked Leon in her frustration. Poor Leon. Due to this, they took another break because she wasn't fully focused. Suddenly, her headache returned. She tried to pretend it was nothing, but Leon wanted to bite her. She refused, wanting to handle it on her own because she believed that was the only way she could live happily with Yoon. Upon hearing this, Leon was devastated, and his feelings were reflected in the photos. Leon began to imagine a future with Chai far away from him. After a while, they took another break, but this time, Chai was on the verge of collapsing due to her headache. She tried to calm herself but couldn't and ended up falling to the floor, hitting her head. Leon ran to her side, worried. On the other hand, Yoon hadn't left like he was supposed to. He was walking outside when he suddenly saw a crowd. He got closer and was shocked to see Chai being taken to the hospital. Once there, the doctors informed him that they couldn't find anything abnormal in her, but Yoon was worried because she hadn't woken up yet. The doctors explained they just had to wait. Yoon was very sad when Leon arrived and told him that Chai had had the accident due to her migraines and that he had wanted to bite her. But she refused because she wanted to be happy with him. Upset, he told her that she needed to stay away from him, as the same thing would happen to her that the other vampire had warned her about. It's a curse. Jun was about to respond, but Chai had been listening to everything and, angry, she told them they couldn't decide for her. Both were startled, but she stood up and told Leon that they needed to talk. They went out to the hospital balcony, where she explained to Leon that it wasn't Yoon who stayed by her side, but rather she who chose to be with him, because with him, she felt like the happiest woman in the world. She asked Leon not to tell Yoon to stay away from her, because she didn't believe in curses. She thanked him for the love he felt for her, but she only wanted him as a friend. If he couldn't understand that, then she'd have to distance herself from him. This broke Leon's heart, because he loved her too, but he couldn't be selfish. So, he wished Chai happiness and asked for one last hug. She agreed, and as she looked into his eyes, she saw him cry. They embraced one last time, and Leon said that if Yoon didn't treat her well or stopped loving her, he would be waiting for her. Minutes later, Chai returned to her room and asked Yoon if he planned to abandon her again, or lie to her. He, saddened, told her he would never lie to her again, and that when he was younger he promised to stay by her side, no matter what. Even if she died, he would die too. She hugged him and told him they had to think about both of them, and not about those absurd stories. They should live for now, regardless of what others said. He knew he couldn't live without his Chai, so he would live with her and cherish their beautiful love. He gave her a tender kiss. The next day, Chai was discharged from the hospital. The doctor explained that they couldn't find anything wrong with her, but Yoon was still worried, so they waited until further tests were done. Once she was ready to leave, Chai told Yoon she was going to take a bath because she felt strange. She left Yoon to watch TV while waiting for her, but of course he wasn't going to listen. He went in with her and said he would wash her hair. She was happy because she had his love by her side. With a mischievous smile, he told her he was good at everything, and she blushed. She remembered how their first night together had been, and what he had told her about it also being his first time. But those forbidden thoughts were interrupted when Yoon saw her blushing and asked her what she was thinking. Nervously, she told him she wasn't thinking about anything. Liar, he thought. She was thinking about her vampire's abs. Yoon leaned in closer and said he could help wash her body, but she didn't allow it. She pushed him out, amused. Even though they had already been together, she still blushed around him. Just then, Chai's mother called. Meanwhile, Jung and Sarah were exercising. Every morning, Sarah would run at the same time as Jung, doing so because she liked him. One morning, she got ready to go for a run, waiting as usual for Jung. But this time, he didn't show up. Suddenly, she saw someone running, and as she approached him, to her surprise, it was another person. She apologized, but the man recognized her as Sarah. She denied it, but he insisted on taking a picture with her because she was his pan, a term for someone he was fond of. Since she didn't want to, he grabbed her arm and treated her poorly. He took off her hat, and just as he was about to reveal her, Jiyeon appeared, embracing her. He asked the man what he was doing to his little one, and seeing Jiyeon's angry look, the man left. Jiyeon asked Zara if she was okay, but she pretended to be fine, though he could tell she wasn't. So he decided to take her to his house to have a cup of tea and calm down. She thanked him, but he told her that her boyfriend must be very worried about her and that they shouldn't see each other often, as it could cause problems. Sarah, embarrassed, confessed that her relationship with June was just a contract and that neither of them felt anything for each other. Blushing, she asked if it wasn't overwhelming for him to stay away from her because she liked him. She wanted to do whatever it took for him to feel the same way. Ben blushed because, of course, he felt something for her too, but at that moment he couldn't tell her. She remembered when she saw Leon so focused on something, and as she approached, she realized he was looking at an abandoned kitten. But when he tried to pet it, the kitten ran away, which made her laugh. Today she understood that he was a good person who cared about others. Meanwhile, Yun and Chai received the results of her tests. The doctor said everything was fine, but recommended going to a psychiatry department because the headache could be related to mental stress. Both were surprised, but understood they had to follow the doctor's advice. In the afternoon they arrived home, and Yun, like a true gentleman, carried Chai in his arms. Once inside, he had a cleaning spree, because he hadn't been there for several days. He started cleaning like Cinderella, and Chai told him it was enough. Once he finished the chores, he asked if she wanted to eat something. She jokingly said she wanted to eat a vampire for dinner. Of course, Yoon didn't reject the offer and quickly prepared a nice meal. After eating, Chai fell asleep and Yoon watched her, thinking about how, since she was young, she had always wanted to protect and help others, never thinking of herself. Now, when things were difficult, no one took care of her. But that would change, because he would protect her from now on. Chai was happy, because as long as Yun was with her, she could overcome any obstacle. The next day, Chai visited her friend Minji. She was happy to see her, and even Minji's cat Ruru was happy. They talked about what had been happening recently until Minji asked if the rumor about June was true. Chai was surprised, thinking they had discovered she was a vampire, but it wasn't that. Minji told her that June was the grandson of one of the country's wealthiest presidents and owned many companies, which shocked Chai. Later that afternoon, she returned home and Yun was happy to see her, but without wasting any time, she asked if it was true that he was the heir to a large company. This made Yun nervous, but since he couldn't lie to her, he explained that it was true, but he wasn't the only grandson and that he didn't plan to take advantage of that company, which was why he hadn't told her. Chai thought for a moment, and Yun asked if she was angry, but she wasn't. However, she did feel there was a distance between them, as they didn't know each other well enough yet. Yun quickly approached her and told her not to say that because he was still the same little neighbor she used to play with when they were kids. She couldn't stop laughing, but they agreed to stay together, promising that nothing would affect them. Meanwhile, Sarah was getting ready to run, thinking about how Jion had rejected her. She wondered if maybe she was just a burden to him, not understanding why she felt so bad, since she had only just met him. Just as she was about to leave, Gion called her name. He explained that his delay was because he had been helping someone, not because he was avoiding her. He said he didn't know what it was like to be in a relationship with a woman, and asked if they could just get to know each other as friends for now. She started to laugh, and he thought to himself that he loved her, even if he didn't acknowledge it. So, Sarah accepted. A little later, Sarah was with her representative, who scolded her for some photos that had surfaced of her with a man. He told her she needed to be careful, as it could damage their image. But Sarah, furious, responded that if June kept making them look ridiculous, she would reveal their contract relationship. The next day, Sarah went for a run and encountered June petting a kitten. She approached him, and he told her that the kitten no longer runs away from him and that they were becoming closer. Sarah, taking his arm, replied, "Just like us too," and added, "Poor Leon, he's so innocent." On the other hand, Jun saw the comments that Yun was making and grew angrier with each one. He called his manager to ask why he hadn't been getting calls for commercials anymore. His manager explained that since Jun was already well known, they had decided to change their image. Furious, Jun decided to go to a bar and drink. Like a witch appearing at the most inconvenient time, Jun appeared and asked why he was drinking. Jung, being envious, told him it was because of Yun, saying that Yun had taken everything from him, even his job. The snake-like person then suggested that Jung could take something precious from Jung as well, Chai. He claimed that since Chai was supposedly in love with Jun, if he confessed to her, she would leave Jung and be with him, which would ruin Jung. And like a fool, Jung believed him. Oh, how idiotic! On the other hand, the two lovers were watching a movie, and Jun was crying. She started teasing him, saying he looked so cute, and they were very happy together. But suddenly she received a call from the fool, John, who asked to meet with her. So she went to the meeting. Once there, she asked him what he had to tell her about Chai, but this fool had actually called her to confess that he loved her. Chai responded that she also cared for him, but only as a friend. He replied that he didn't want her as a friend, but as something more. Annoyed, she told him if he had nothing else to say, she would leave. He tried to stop her, but she was determined to go, leaving him looking foolish. This made him so angry that he threw things on the floor, especially when he saw Yun waiting for her outside the restaurant. Later, Chai told Yun what had happened with John and asked if he was upset. He replied that he wasn't, but they both wondered what Jun was planning next. Yun suggested that Chai should tell Zia what happened, since they were such good friends and cared about each other. Meanwhile, Sarah told Jung that she wanted to take a break before choosing her next project. He told her that he had always watched her show since he was young and was happy to be friends with such an amazing person. The next day, Sarah decided to visit Jung, bringing him food. When the doorbell rang, Leilon opened the door without a shirt, showing off his toned abs. Sarah was stunned at the sight of him, blushing. Realizing her reaction, she quickly ran to change, but Chai couldn't stop staring at him, completely smitten. They sat down to have dinner, and Jung, feeling shy, apologized for the way she had found him. But Sarah didn't mind. She was happy with what she had seen. After dinner, she was about to leave to return home, but like a true gentleman, Jung offered to accompany her. They were on their way to Chai's house when they were in for a rude surprise. Outside her house stood Jung, furious, asking why she hadn't answered his calls. He grabbed her phone and saw that she had blocked him. This made him even angrier, but she, even more furious, told him that whatever he had to say, he should say it through her representative. He glared at her, but soon noticed that Leon was with her. Knowing that Leon was Yun's representative, he confronted Sere, asking if she was doing this just to annoy him. Jung stepped in between them, confronting Jun and saying he wouldn't allow him to continue mistreating Chai. Jun clarified that he was her boyfriend, but she replied that he knew they weren't together anymore. This annoyed him, and he told Sarah that if Chai spoke to her, he wouldn't believe anything she said. How shameless. Jung left, and to apologize, Sarah invited Leon to have a cup of tea. They sat in silence, and she thought he must be angry, but he wasn't. He was actually worried. He told her that she should leave that agency, forget about the contract, and he would speak to someone else to help her find work elsewhere. She thanked him, and he expressed how concerned he was for her. This left her speechless, and without saying a word, she kissed Jung. He blushed, surprised by her boldness, and told her that once her contract ended, he wouldn't just be her friend, he would be her boyfriend. How direct they are. Meanwhile, June drowned his sorrows in alcohol, and, as always, the snake-like person was by his side. He told her that Chai had rejected him and didn't love him, though he regretted not noticing her sooner. This witch mocked him, saying that Chai had acted that way because Yoon was close to her. But if he seeks her when she's alone, she'll probably accept him. In the afternoon, Chai was heading home after buying some things she needed, and as usual she called her handsome vampire to see if he would take long to get home. He asked if she had gone shopping alone, and she confirmed. He replied, asking why she didn't tell him so he could accompany her, because it could be dangerous. But Chai smiled and assured him not to worry because the neighborhood was safe. However, she was in for a big surprise when she saw June outside her house, and he was drunk. This fool told her that his feelings were sincere and that he knew she loved him too, but she told him they could talk another day when he was sober. Furious, he grabbed her hand, accusing her of also rejecting him. She asked him to let go because he was hurting her, but he hugged her without her permission. She was shocked, especially when he said he loved her. Liar, she thought, remembering how he had helped her when her grandmother died, which was why she had gotten close to him. But the truth was, she had never loved him. It had just been affection because he was her comfort. With fury, she pushed him away and slapped him hard, shocking him. She told him that she had once loved him, but that had changed, and now she was just disappointed. He left, and soon Yun arrived, worried about her. She reassured him that she was fine now and felt safe with him. She did tell him, though, that Jun was acting strangely with her. Upon hearing this, Yun wanted to confront Jun, but she stopped him. She sadly said that all of this was his fault, for not being there when she needed him most, when her grandmother passed away. But they shouldn't focus on the past anymore, only on the present. Happy, he hugged her and expressed how much he loved her. But, as always, the monster returned and Chai experienced strong headaches again. Jun was worried, but he couldn't bite her. So Chai decided to take painkillers, reassuring herself that she would be okay, especially if she stayed in Yun's arms. The next morning she woke up and was concerned when she didn't see her vampire nearby. She left the room and saw him with 2 suitcases. She asked where he was going, and he replied that he wanted her to live with him, which she had now agreed to. When they arrived, Yun showed her the whole house, but he was worried, feeling like she had come with him out of obligation. She reassured him she was happy to be with him, though she had been surprised when he proposed it, but it didn't matter because they were together now. He gave her a sweet kiss, although not that sweet, since they both were already craving cake. But Chai stopped herself, running out with the excuse of fixing the clothes, leaving Yun flustered. Later, Chai and Yun finished organizing the clothes, and Chai started cooking. Yun was nervous because he had never eaten anything she made, but once he tasted the food, he was captivated by how delicious it was. They finished dinner and went to bed, and she playfully whispered in his ear that she was wearing something very beautiful. Of course, Yun couldn't wait long to find out, but they were interrupted by a call from Yun's representative. He told them that photos of Chai with Jun were circulating, and the comments were negative, claiming that they were betraying their partners. The next day, Chai and Jun met with the representative. He told them what they did was wrong, but Jun arrogantly replied that he didn't like people talking about infidelity without knowing what was really going on. The representatives told him to be quiet. Both were planning what to do about the situation, and Jun's representative suggested they pretend that Chai and Jun had a secret relationship. This upset Chai, but Jun demanded to speak with her alone. He tried to threaten her, but she furiously responded that she would teach him a lesson he'd never forget. With that, she left. That night, she spoke to her representative, telling him she accepted the proposal because they promised to recommend her. However, Chai angrily told them she wouldn't accept it and would do the right thing. From all the stress, her headache started again, but she knew that all of this was falling on Yun. She remembered everything that had happened recently, but also the letter her grandmother had left her, expressing how much she loved her. With renewed strength, she decided she would protect the people she loved. The next day, Yun was talking with his manager. He said that if things continued this way, they would have to announce an official breakup. This angered Yun, and he replied that if they did that, he wouldn't stand still because he loved Chai and couldn't be without her. Just then, they were shown a post in which Chai was giving a press conference, where she would clarify everything that had happened. She began by explaining what Jun had done, and how everything had been misinterpreted, but the reporters kept asking about her romance with Yun, and if it was true that she once loved Jun. She answered that she had cared for Jun, but only as a good friend, and that the person she had always loved was Yun, and that was the best thing that had ever happened to her. As the questions kept coming, just as she was about to answer, her friend Sarah appeared. A few days ago, Chai and Sarah had met, and now Chai sat with her to talk about Jun. It was hard for Chai to tell her everything, but she had no alternative. She told Chai that Jun had confessed his love for her a few days ago. Upon hearing that Chai had the courage to tell her this, Sarah felt so angry with herself because she had never spoken about what had happened in high school. Seeing Chai cry, Sarah approached her. Meanwhile, Chun, noticing Yun was taking a long time, went inside to find him. He saw the boss watching the press conference where Chai appeared. During the interview, Chai clarified that she was just another victim of Jun, as her relationship with him had been contractual. The company she worked for had forced her into it after they found a photo where that fool had kissed her. Because of that, the agency had pressured her to accept, claiming it was for her own good, but she could no longer remain silent. Chai is a wonderful person, and she's her only friend, Sira said. Jun, who had been watching the conference, was furious, while Jun and his representative were both angry as well after seeing what had happened. The representative blamed Jun entirely for what he had done to Chai. Meanwhile, Sarah and Chai held hands, showing their unity, and Sarah was happy because she had gotten her friend back. On the other hand, Yun and his representative were astonished by what had just happened, and the internet was flooded with positive comments for Chai. Many people praised her, calling her a true angel, and with this, Chai was able to leave behind all the bad comments. Later that night, Yun was asleep in the room but woke up and noticed Chai wasn't there. He got up to find her and found her sitting on the couch. He asked her what was wrong, and she replied that she couldn't sleep because she hadn't expected to be admired so much after the press conference. But she knew it was all thanks to her friend Sarah. Yun agreed, saying that Sarah had helped her, but the rest was due to her own merit, because people saw the noble heart she had, and everyone who knew her loved her. Yun then told her that he was the happiest man in the world to have such a wonderful person by his side. Meanwhile, Jun was furious and drinking. He was bothered by all the negative comments being directed at him, including videos of all the things he had done. He stormed out of the bar, and as people began murmuring when they saw him, his anger only grew. But then he spotted De Leon and approached her angrily, accusing her of embarrassing him in front of everyone. She was the one who had told him to confess his feelings to Chai. People started murmuring, and De Leon was nervous as everything was falling apart and she was exposed. Everyone began taking photos, and, in an attempt to deflect, she told Jun, "Why do you show up drunk, attacking me? I have nothing to do with this." But Jun, furious, shouted at De Leon, accusing her of being the one who uploaded those photos to social media to make him look bad, claiming it was all out of jealousy for Chai. She forcefully responded that how could she possibly be jealous of someone so insignificant, in front of everyone. Jun angrily reproached her for using him to destroy Chai's career. Suddenly, guards arrived and took De Leon away by force. Jun was stunned, and soon after, news of the incident began to circulate. Dae-Elon arrived at home, where her representative was waiting for her. He told her that because she hadn't kept quiet, the agency had filed a lawsuit, leaving her without a job and their support. Shortly after, Sarah came to visit her. She returned the wallet Dae-Elon had given her in high school and added that she was very upset with her because she had only listened to Dae-Elon's side of the story and not Chai's. The witch replied that she hated Chai because Chai never had to make an effort to be her friend. Sira, annoyed, replied that Chai never held grudges but always cared for others, and that's why people loved her. Sira demanded that De Leon never cross her path again and left, saying, "Repent and be gone." A little later, Chai and Sarah were talking. Chai thanked Sarah for helping her, although she felt sad and apologized for distancing herself without asking her what exactly happened in high school. Sarah took her hand and reassured her that it was all in the past, and now they needed to move forward and succeed together. Sarah smiled and said that Yun was a good person, just like Jun. Surprised, Chai asked if she knew him. Sarah confessed that they were neighbors and that she liked Chai. Excited, Chai said she hoped everything would go well between them, and it seemed that everything was going to work out. Meanwhile, Yun arrived home. As he entered, he remembered that Chai had said she would go out with Sarah. He felt very sad without her but decided to take a shower. Afterward, he heard the doorbell, excitedly ran to the door and shouted, "Chai, darling, your little Yun just finished showering." But the surprise was that she wasn't alone. A few hours earlier, Yun's mother had come to visit him. She had heard about the news and the press conference where Chai defended Yun. She arrived at his house just as Chai did, and they entered together, shocking Yun with the surprise of the century. Embarrassed, Yun quickly asked his mother how long she had been there. She replied that she had just arrived but asked Chai if she was doing okay and if they lived together. Yoon quickly added that he had asked Chai to live with him, and that when they both had more free time, they planned to get married. Chai blushed intensely from what he had just said. But his mother told him that they should discuss such matters formally, and with that she said goodbye to them. Once she left, Yoon embraced Chai and apologized for everything that had happened. She smiled and reassured him that it was fine. His mother had just arrived to see him because she missed him, and she was a very charismatic woman. Meanwhile, Yoon's mother was in the car, thinking about her son's expression earlier. She started laughing, something she hadn't done in a long time. The next day, Sarah met with Jion and the director of the agency where Yoon works. She told them that she had helped win the legal case for Sarah because Jion had asked her to. In exchange, he hoped she would work for his agency. He said he wanted to expand his professional field and no longer just hire artists, but also actresses, and since he had many investments, he hoped she would join, assuring her she wouldn't regret it. Sarah happily agreed, knowing she would now work alongside Jion. The next day, Sarah went to exercise with Jion. She was happy and told him that she would have liked it if he were her representative. However, he couldn't be because they had decided to promote her to a higher position. She congratulated him, but also remembered what her boss had said, that Jion had begged for the favor, and confessed that she liked him. He smiled and said he liked her too. Just then a kitten appeared, and he jokingly said that he liked the kitten he always saw on the street. Sarah, furious, promised herself she would make Gion fall in love with her no matter what. Later, Ji-yoon introduced Sarah to the new representative for her, Lee Jun-soo. She happily extended her hand to greet him, and he was excited because he had been a fan of hers since childhood. They both smiled, but this did not sit well with Dae-ilung, who felt jealous. She told Chai that if she disagreed with anything, she should let her know, but Chai quickly replied that they would solve everything with the help of Jun-soo. Sarah asked Jun-soo not to treat her formally, but to call her Sarah, and to provoke Jun-soo to save his phone number so she could contact him. Jun was angry as he realized what was going on. Sarah was happy because she knew Jion had feelings for her, even if he denied it. A little later, they began working together, chatting with Lee, which annoyed De Laurent. After a while, Sarah took a break, and Lee appeared with a cup of her favorite coffee. She asked how he knew, and he told her that he was part of a fan club for her. When De Laurent saw how happy they were, she stormed off.